neighbor. We go all the way back to the Calif Center. And you made a compelling argument that we needed to see this. We needed to hear this. We needed to feel this. What I'd like to do, if it's okay with Jessica and Jovan and Edie, and certainly Derek, whose college week covers some of the same material in the same way, and since both of your films were at the Black Harvest Film Festival, and I know just last night your film festival, your film was also showcased at the
Chicago International Social Change.
Thank you. Yes. I thought that maybe we could have a community conversation on said subject, since it's so urgent and so important. We have quite a few journalists here, but we're also graced with journalist Alice Brown, who might want to help with some questions, maybe questions, comments from you guys. Maybe we could just begin.
Care because this is happening to our sons and daughters. It's happening to us even. We should care because we need to do more about this killing each other. It's a travesty, and it seems as if we don't know what to do. Everybody has their own agenda, their own strategies or lack of, but no one has really come together to try to remedy the situation in a way that makes sense. And with this film, and Jessica could speak more on this, she wanted to show the travesty in beautiful words and prose, actually. You know, that dichotomy is quite striking, and it's very much needed. People need to see this, to feel, and maybe to do.
Yeah. Thanks.
And it needs to come up just a little bit. You know, it's a bunch of buttons back there. You hit the wrong button, it's a problem. But I just respect, you know, just how creatively y'all put it together, the poetry as well as the soundtrack and the music. And it was moving. And I did a project on violence also on the front line, Taking Back Our Streets. And somebody said, how long are we going to keep doing these projects? As long as there's violence.
Right.
If we have the ability to take our camera, our pen, or whatever, and express ourselves, then we're going to keep doing it. And I applaud y'all, really appreciate it. And I did a project that's called College Week. And I had a friend, cousin came from out of town. I took her on a ride from downtown to Madison, right? Heading west. And I took her all over the city. And I said, what was the best thing about what you did here? She said, I really appreciate that ride you took me down Madison, because it just showed me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Start out in West Loop, you got certain things happening. Start getting a little further west of California, on Madison, things happen. So once you cross Austin, it's a whole different world. So my project is based in Austin, and in Oak Park, you know, people go to college. College is probably just taken for granted. In Austin, the dropout rate is very high, but this school was basically, amidst all the violence and everything, they're preparing students from pre-K to 8th grade for college. And the teachers overcome all kinds of stereotypes and statistics. And so that's what this whole thing is about. Again, elevating some of the best things of us and expressing the things that we actually do that's positive, that people don't see.
And the team, the directors and creators, because it's so important to have this out there so that we can have something to discuss, so that we can keep conversations going. And, you know, like they say, the pen, the power of the pen, and it's just so important. And we have this glimpse of this community that's not, these communities that are not often shown. And in the last piece, they spoke about stereotypes, and we're going to confront stereotypes that are being challenged in Mr. Grace's film as well. And also, it's so nice to see you, Edie. I remember we worked together for a while, and she's phenomenal. She did commercials for R.J. Dell when I was there. Just amazing. Everyone, I can't think of any now, but everybody would know. They're like household name commercials.
So, but anyway, the work is so important, and here we are discussing it, and they're gonna stay for, you know, always will be there for the record for people to forever discuss, and hopefully, you know, once, we just need to get it distributed more where everybody sees it, because that's what we have, a conversation piece with these films. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you speak to that a little bit, what those differences are?
It's, so, I'm probably gonna mess this up, but there's a quote that, art imitates life. No, that's the quote. Art imitates life. So, I noticed that, and when I say youth, I mean, I was teaching high schoolers. So, I noticed like with our young ladies, it was, anything to do with fashion, like it was kind of second nature to like show areas that weren't appropriate. Our young men, the names that they would call themselves, that we hear in mainstream media, it was like nothing, you know, like whatever, da 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 da. And it made me just think about, because a lot of the times we also think violence is just guns and knives, when there's different forms of violence that we also don't discuss. And so, so when I say that the discussions were different, it was like, at least from what I take from the stories that CNN and Fox and other major news outlets broadcast, it's like the kids, especially children of color, they had it coming. They were asking for it. They were part of a gang. They shouldn't have been there when they were supposed to be, all that stuff. And the kids that I was teaching was more so like, well, that may be true, but I was, my homie was buying Skittles, you know what I'm saying, and was going home to his little brother, you know, and so that's what I mean, like it was different. It was just like the other side of the narrative.
I have a question for Edie. Was this written when you did your poem? Was it from a mother's perspective or being a teenager yourself and feeling how it would be like to go through that?
Oh, okay. Well, it was from a mother's perspective. One day I was looking at the news, and they were talking about Hadia, and that she was shot. And then they put the mugshot of the two young boys who shot her. One of the boys was kind of handsome, had the little dreads, and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder what his life was really like. Did he get coerced? Did he hook up with the wrong people? Did he grow up, you know, in a troubled situation? How did this happen? And so, you know, you look at Hadia, the beautiful young lady. I saw this young man who had potential, and I'm thinking, what could have been? What if they met up in school and, you know, they, you know, loved each other, liked each other, infatuated, and they started dating. You know, what could have been, but it didn't work out that way. This was just my fantasy. And so I wrote it down as a mom.
Kids, what they'll say is, oh, I gotta get my respect.
Yeah.
And the way they go about it is totally wrong, and they don't seem to know how to, you know, as far as getting respect, how to give respect. You know, if they would think that violence is the way to get respect. You know, show up with a gun. If you don't respect me, you'll respect this. And I see a lot of teenagers like that. And that's one thing we have to do, you know, show them what respect is. And to act like grown-ups.
I always wonder, like, where does it start, though? Is it the kid? Is it the parents, or is it the school? Because parents can only do so much. Like, we can tell them the good things, and you know they respect us. They respect the parents at the house. And then the moment they get out the house, it's like they're exposed to everything. So it's like you can't protect them too much. But like, is it a personal choice, or is it? It seems like it's a lot that goes into it, not just parents, not just school,
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the music that they listen to. You know, they try to imitate that. You know, that's what I see. A lot of it.
You know, I should just jump in here just for a minute, only because I know that there are some credible, responsible, and ethical journalists in the House. I also know that just in the last day, the Chicago Tribune, for example, did a powerful piece that I'm going to talk about with my Columbia College media literacy kids, where they went into different neighborhoods, with like on the west side, the best side, Roseland as well, Inglewood, the day after a crisis, the day after some violence, the day after a shooting, to show the other things that are going on. So it was a more holistic
Right,
one.
I
So,
seen the guy last night, the BC had, next day.
indeed, Casella.
Right.
You're absolutely right. So I just wanted to mention that it's not all the media, but yes, some of our colleagues are doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons.
How you said it's the music, but at the same time, there's so many levels to that situation.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to say Nicki Minaj said a comment because she commented to someone else saying that her music is the reason why her daughter is acting up, and she refuted that by saying, "But I'm not the one raising your daughter. I'm doing me." So it's what you're teaching your daughter to do, and what you teach her to adhere to or respect or to bring into her daily lifestyle. That's what ultimately matters. But it does play in the fact of what's going on in around you in the elements. So I think it's on one hand, it is up to the parents to instill certain values and morals onto their children, but also at the same time, keeping up a dialogue. Because if there's a dialogue between parent and kid, then they're able to say, "Hey, Ma, hey, Dad, this is what happened today," or "This is what's going on between two of my friends. Like, how do I deal with this situation?" Or "They're trying to go and do this. What do you think I should do?" So a kid is always like, I know from how me and my sisters talk to our parents, they're always going to want to talk to somebody about something that's going on, and it's just whether or not they're creating an environment or fostering a situation where they can come back and talk to you about it.
I want to speak to that. I think that it's not just the music, even though it's part of it. See, it's not always just one big thing. It's always little things you
Right.
string together, and it makes this catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
Music is one of them. You know, the lyrics, lack of fathers in the home. You know, single parenting, where you don't get the kind of support that you need. I think really basically it's the lack of morals and values in this day and age. Character building. Back in my day, we really
She's not that old.
focused on character building. In schools, it was that way. Yeah, they had prayer in the schools at that time. You know, you can argue for or against it, but the whole idea was to build character, be good citizens. These days, it's, you know, think about yourself.
Yeah.
I got mine, you gotta get yours. Live, let live, whatever. You know, it's that kind of thing. God is not as prominent in the lives of people these days as it was back in my day. So in terms of values and morals, from that perspective, I think it has eroded. And because of all these things, I think you've got what you've got right now.
But there's so many things.
Yes.
When I was growing up, I'm a little bit older than you are, but it was normal for your work day. Most people started at 9, it ended at 5. You had the weekend. You had a mom that could stay home, even if dad was